Hey folks, I have had such a great day watching your presentations for your week seven's work. You all have covered some really good topics, and a lot of those topics are very complex. There were four of you that covered the mandatory staffing issues. A few of you covered workplace violence. Let's see, I had someone cover abortion, um, childhood obesity. Gosh, there were so many. All of these were just really, really good topics. And for me, I feel like I spend a lot of time looking into policies and politics and trying to stay abreast of what's going on out in the world of policy. But it's not possible for me to keep up on all of these things. So it's always really great for me to be able to see these presentations as well as read your papers from last week and learn a little bit more about stuff that's specifically going on. So lots of great things. I want you to make sure that you've read the feedback that has been provided to you. If you have questions or concerns, touch base. It is really important that you begin to really polish your presentation skills, not just from an articulation standpoint of being able to clearly express your ideas, but also being able to do so in an online format like a voice over PowerPoint that would be supportive of your ideas. So when you think about the value of the visual effect of someone listening to you express your ideas with a visual component, we often gravitate to the voice over PowerPoints. Be mindful that when you are doing a PowerPoint that you need to include in-text citations on every slide that has relevant context. I didn't pick apart every single slide if it didn't have a citation, but I do want you to think about your slides as a page in a paper. And if you are writing at a scholarly graduate level, you're using evidence and resources as you write your paper, and at least one citation per paper. The further along you go into the program, we really like to see one citation per paragraph. Otherwise, if you're not citing sources, you're writing opinion, and that's really not the purpose of graduate level writing. So when you do your PowerPoint presentations, be thoughtful about adding those in-text citations. Always making that last slide or two, depending on how many references you have, make that your reference page so that your viewer, whether it's an academic environment or whether you've done it for work, that you have that that you have those references available to your viewers so that they know where your sources came from. You also want to be sure that you always use a creative element. Think about yourself as a student. If someone put up a slide set and all it was narrative, you may force yourself to dial in because it's required from an academic standpoint. But if you had to do it and you could unplug, the visual piece of using charts and graphs and appropriate professional photos keeps you engaged. You begin to look at those slides differently when those pictures give context to what the speaker is saying. So you do want to use professional pictures, charts, graphs, tables, those kinds of things to gain your audience's attention and keep them dialed in. The other thing that you want to do is make sure that you're using font and formatting and the organization of your slide to maximize the efficacy of your presentation. And again, that all varies. Some people really like very clean slides. Some people like to use bullet points. I tend to be very sparse in what I put on slides, partly because I want someone to be listening to me and looking at me or paying attention to other elements than reading what's on my slide. So be thoughtful of those things as you go forward. The other thing to be thoughtful about is when you're looking at a policy issue, the only way we can really manage a well-rounded perspective is to understand both sides of a policy issue. And that means we have to listen and make an attempt to understand the opposing perspectives, the opposing opinions, the people that don't agree with us. There's so much angst and animosity and hostility and stress in the current political arena that I think we are no longer trying to understand the other side's perspective, that we are no longer looking for common ground, that it's my way or the highway kind of approach. And I want to avoid that for you when you begin to formulate your political perspectives from an academic standpoint. Is I want you to look at both sides. I want you to look at both sides in a balanced way and pretend you're Switzerland, that you're nice and neutral, and go at it from that perspective, because when you're informed on both sides, that actually helps your own argument. It makes you more well-rounded in your ideas. So I want you to be sure that you're doing that. I had so much fun watching your presentations today. So from a making your own tables in PowerPoint and inserting information, Alyssa gets the shout out for being the most creative and adding lots of tables that really supported her material. Camilla, you got to send me an email and tell me where you got the corkboard background for your slide. The slide layout when you're doing a PowerPoint, if you use a plain background, there's some times that you need to do that. There's some military installations that you can't put creative elements on it. But Camilla did a beautiful job of using an artistic background that was not distracting to really support her ideas. And one of those had the corkboard and looked like it was using push pins to hold in the elements of her ideas instead of like bullet points that were push pins. I don't even know how that happens. Maybe I'm showing my age, but you could help a sister out and tell me how to do it. Let's see, who else? Oh, I got an MP4. Who was that? I think it was Haley. And then the other not PowerPoint that I got was from Heidi, and she used Jing that converted to a screencast and then uploaded it beautifully online. I know how to do that, and I know it makes my eye twitch a little bit, so kudos for navigating that. I'm going to encourage you as you go through your graduate journey to not be scared of new technology. And what we know is that most students in a graduate program span between like 35 and 50 in age-wise. So not many of us are millennials that were born with technology in our hands. So if you're anything like me, I can get a little intimidated by new things. So I was so impressed that Heidi navigated the Jing and the Screencast-O-Matic with that integration in an online format. Don't be scared of technology. I promise you can't break it. So if you have another opportunity to do a presentation, there are some great tools out there. So be brave and try new stuff. The other person that did something really cool was your classmate, Allison. I don't know how Allison did it, but as her slides transitioned, they folded up to paper airplanes and they flew off the page. I watched it like 3 times because I'm A, tired, and B, was highly entertained by watching an airplane fold up and fly off the page. It was a beautiful slide set that was extremely polished and had that fun little element of when her detail was done, it folded up and flew away. I found that so engaging. Know that you can be as the smartest person in the room. You can be the most well-informed person in the room. But if you do not maximize the tools at your disposal to leverage your presentation, no one's going to listen to you. So the presentation method is almost as important as the things you know. So be engaged, as you go forward in using the development of presentations as a real purposeful activity. I teach for a living, but prior to that, I was in nursing leadership. I've been doing presentations for the better part of my career. I can tell you I'm much better at it now than I was 20 years ago, but the technology is also much better. So that's actually made me look more creative, more polished, and more well presented. So just be very thoughtful about that. So lots and lots of good things. I will tell you that next week's assignment, it's a discussion board. You're being asked to provide a chapter summary for chapter, I think it's 81 or 82. Folks, this is not meant to be a deep dive. It is a discussion board. Please do not make this a thesis. When we say a summary, make it a brief summary. You have 2 other bullet point questions that are pretty straightforward. This is a just do it. We're at the end of week 8. It is a short week. This assignment is meant to not kill you. So do honor the assignment. Don't have to do it. But remember, it's a discussion board. It's not a lengthy paper. It's not a thesis. Get your point across. Support it with one reference and support it with the biblical perspective, and you're done. Remember that the last 25 points of week 7 is to go in. First Post your presentation in your group discussion board, and everybody's been put into a discussion board. Post it and then view at least 2 that are in your group. Less than about, I think it says at least 100 words. Folks, really, just spend some time looking at your classmates' work, give them some good feedback, explore the ideas that they covered, and move on. Again, it's a way to give you points for being engaged. That's all that is. Don't make it more than it is. I've run out of things to say. This will be my last feedback video for you. Normally I have found that week 8, everybody's piecing out because you're as tired as I am and you're ready for a break. Know that I will send you an email and let you know when all of your coursework has been graded. And then I'll say, you've got about a day before I post final grades. Yeah, questions or concerns, holler at me and we'll talk through those before I move forward. Normally it's about a day from when I post your final grades to where it gets actually posted as a permanent grade, so be in touch. This is going to be the last time I teach this course. I will not be returning to Liberty in the fall. I've resigned my position, and I have been so grateful that as the last time I get to drive this car, it has been with you guys in the back seat. So I have been grateful for the things that I have learned from you and the experience that I have shared with you. My prayer for you is that you continue in your graduate education, and that is a blessing to you, and that you use that blessing to expand God's kingdom, to be the hands and feet of Christ. Very much directly related to a broadening perspective and a broadening access because of your education. Know that I'm here. I'm praying for you. Even when we wrap up the course, you will be in my thoughts and prayers. I hope you guys are well. Touch base with questions or concerns. Remember, we do have the Ask the Professor link for those logistics questions. Send stuff that's very personal to you to me by email, and we'll chat when needed. Y'all take care.